So, over the course of this month or so, I've been coming out of my depression and art drought, and I've been finally rebuilding my enthusiasm for doing and also improving with art. And so, I've been really thinking about studying and getting better, what I want to learn, and I've been looking at the artwork of artists that I'm inspired by and artists who I think make a lot of progress. And what I've found as I'm talking to my friends about all these things is sometimes I will show like before and after pics of when somebody is like poor at drawing, they not have the skills yet, they're worse than where I am right now, and then later they get even better than I am, but their art almost becomes more boring. Like you don't want to see it as much, and when you see it, it doesn't spark anything in you other than just saying, "Oh yeah, they're pretty good at drawing now." And I'm wondering why is that? Why do a lot of artists seemingly become not worse, but less appealing as time goes on? And I think that's because a lot of appeal in art is like standing out, having a unique art style that really sticks in your head, as well as the skill. It's not all in the skill. A lot of what improving is just copying other people. It's like seeing what works, what can be explained in instructions, telling people, okay, this is what makes your art actually work good, this is how you practice it, these are the techniques that you want to be going for if you really want to make skillful art. Because you can't just explain to somebody how to develop their own art style while also getting better at whatever specific things they actually want to personally focus on, because as a teacher, or just generally speaking into the ether of the information network known as the internet, you can't target specific people. Really quickly, I'm cutting in post here. Just to comment on that, like, oh, you can't target specific people comment. Ignore the increasing amounts of background noise. It's not just that you can't target people, it's that art style is pretty much like kind of a manifestation of your own soul. Like, you know, you can't get into somebody's brain and like actually know how to like further extend out from what is known as good drawing to the art styles and expressions that they want to capture, because you'll never understand what that would even be unless you are that person and you've already developed that understanding for yourself. And so improving artists will often end up just like, I guess, working the same way that everyone else does on their path to greatness. And you reach this point where you're no longer bad anymore. You've really started to like develop that skill and understanding of the medium you're working with. You know how to move the pen right. You know how like perspective works and anatomy. You're studying all these things. But because you're studying the same things as everybody else, or better yet, you know, you're just copying from the artists directly that inspire you, they probably inspire a lot of other people. You end up just kind of blending in to this sea of good artists. And I think this is what a lot of beginner artists or people even up to my skill level are really afraid of when it comes to actually studying, is they know they have to be copying other people if they actually want to really get into it. But they're afraid of copying, not because they're afraid of becoming part of this sea, but just they're afraid of the idea of copying because it eventually leads to this kind of unoriginality, mass of indistinguishable people who are just kind of pretty good at drawing. And I think where that leaves a lot of people is just kind of wishing they could skip over that step. Skip over the boringification of their own art before actually getting great. And I don't know, that's just something that I think has just been on my mind. Oh god, what the Oh yeah, and listening back, I forgot to mention this part, why I really wanted to even just fucking talk about this is because avoiding that copying, like that's not something you should do. Like, you will probably, I'm not going to say you're never, but you're probably never actually going to get to the point where you understand the medium you're working in on an intimate and deep enough level to really manipulate it into the styles that you really want to go for, and like do the things with it that really are like expressing your personal angle with the art, you know, before you actually develop your fundamental skill levels. You've done the things that everybody else does so that you know how to play with them. I mean, all of this is stuff that's been said like a trillion times before by every single artist you've ever known. But, you know, it's worth saying it again. You know, it's worth repeating the same stuff. And, you know, what YouTube video isn't just a repeat of what 5,000 million people have said before him. Yeah. Do the same things as everybody else so that you can step outside those boxes. You can't skip over that option. I mean, you can, but don't assume that you can, because you probably can't. You're not one of the, like, single, like, 0.001% of people that actually has that kind of anomalous brain that could just, like, develop in its own fucking way as an outsider and actually reach the height of skill that you want to reach. So do it. Just become like everybody else. You'll get out of it eventually.